Hello again. In the last video, we looked at the application form and what you need to do for that. Assuming that's successful, you'll be invited in for an interview. So let's look in this video about what that might entail and some top tips for success. Let's have a look at what happens in the interview. As I said before with the application form, every centre is different and have different ways of doing it, but there are certain things which will be fairly common. You may feel really nervous about this. Don't be. We just want to see who you are. And as I said before, there's a high pass rate for CELTA because of the rigorous application procedure. Your interview might be one-to-one, or it might be in a group. It might be face-to-face, usually it'd be face-to-face, but it may be Skype if you're overseas. One of the questions that will probably be asked is, why do you want to do CELTA? So think about that. We don't need to know that you've got a great passion for teaching. I want to go travelling for a year is a good enough reason, but just tell us a genuine reason. You'll be told that it's very hard work. You will be warned that it will be stressful, and you may be asked about any medical conditions you have which are exacerbated by stress. This is not to say that you can't do the course, but it helps us as tutors to know how we can support you if you tell us this. You'll probably also be asked about how you feel about getting feedback, because there's a lot of it on the course. Of course, feedback's going to be constructive, but it's hard to think that this is my lesson they're talking about and not me sometimes. What else happens in the interview? Well, you'll definitely again be given language tasks to do, as in the application form. Again, you'll need to explain the meaning of. So here's another example. I could climb trees when I was young. Could you make me a cup of tea? Please explain to the learner why could is different in these two places. So you need to say that could is a modal verb and that it's got more than one meaning. It's past ability in the first one. It means the equivalent of I can do something. Now it's possible for me. I'm able to. But this in the past. And could you make me a cup of tea is a polite request. So again with this, you need to know your parts of speech and your verb tenses. As well as this, you may be asked to explain the meaning of something lexical like this. I'm a learner, explain what that's a shame means. So we're expecting you to do it in simple terms. Some top tips here are to use a natural context. When would you say that's a shame? For example, I was going to the pictures tonight, but I can't anymore because my friend's ill. And my friend says, oh, that's a shame. You could also use synonyms or antonyms. So that's a shame. It means, I'm sorry about that. It's a pity. That's not very good. But it's used for things which are not very bad. You need to keep your language simple and graded. So try to act as if you're speaking to a learner. This might be more difficult than you think. You also need to think about what might be difficult. So here the learner might know the word shame and know that it's about feeling bad about really bad things. If you have shame, it's usually about something very bad. Whereas this expression isn't about something very bad, it's about something minor. As well as being able to explain language, you're going to need to have a good knowledge of language. For example, parts of speech. If we look at this sentence, can you identify what all of those words are? For example, I is the subject pronoun. That of is a contracted auxiliary verb have. Always is an adverb of frequency. Known is the past participle. Can you do the rest? See if you can. Maybe stop me and see if you can. Your knowledge of this doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be convincing. You also need to know the names of tenses. So present continuous, perfect, simple, past perfect, passive, all of these kind of things. Again, not necessarily perfectly, but convincingly. If you know nothing of this, you're very unlikely to be given a place on the course. Again, if you're struggling with this, the Grammar for Language Teachers course teaches you exactly this kind of thing. There are free units online that you can try to see if you like it. And the feedback I've got from people is that it's really helpful for CELTA. You'll also be asked to do another writing task. For example, what makes a good teacher? Again, this is definitely a test of your written English, although we're also interested in your ideas about language learning. You may be asked to do a peer teach if it's a group interview. If you do this, it'll probably only be for 5 minutes. My advice is to keep it very practical. Don't make it a lecture. For example, numbers in a language 1 to 5, or how to do a very simple dance step, or a simple card trick. What we're looking for is that you can develop a rapport with learners, that you can engage learners, get them to do something, not just talk at them, give clear instructions, have an awareness of how they're doing, help them if they're struggling. These are the kind of things we're looking for. Okay, so let's imagine that you've got through the interview and you got in. What do you have to do now? Well, you'll be given a pre-course task by the centre to help you to prepare, but you could also use other things. This free CELTA toolkit has lots of videos which will help you to prepare for the input sessions. You could also have a look at my concept checking for beginners course. Checking that learners understand what you mean is central to language teaching, and so this course will really help. With all of my courses, there are free sample units online, and I'll offer a 7-day money-back guarantee if you don't like them, so you can't lose anything. There are also a lot of books that you can use to help you prepare, and I've given you a list of some of the most useful ones on my website. So that's the end of this series of videos. I hope that it's been helpful and has given you some ideas about what to expect. I really wish you the best of luck with your application for CELTA, and I really hope that English teaching, if that's what you choose to do, brings you as much joy as it has brought me over the years. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.